It's 3 a.m. You're sitting on the bathroom floor. The house is dark. The house is quiet. You're staring at your bank account on a phone screen, watching numbers that don't make sense anymore. 6 months ago, you had everything: the corner office, the $900,000 house in Naperville, two BMWs in the driveway, country club membership, kids in private school. Now you're doing math on a bathroom floor, and the math doesn't work. No matter how many times you run it, the math does not work. This is what it feels like to go from rich to broke, and it's not what you think. Most people imagine losing everything as a single dramatic moment: crash, an explosion, some Wall Street scene where the numbers go red and somebody throws a chair. That's not how it happens. Not for most people. For most people, it's slow. It's a drip. Quiet erosion that takes months, sometimes years, while you smile at dinner parties and tell everyone you're fine. Researchers call it status maintenance spending. When your income drops, you don't cut back. You actually spend more. You buy the new suit. You keep the reservation. You lease the car you can't afford because the car tells the world a story, and you're terrified of what happens when that story changes. The performance of wealth becomes more important than the wealth itself, and that performance is what drags you under. Here's the science. Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky proved that losing $100 hurts about 2.5 times more than gaining $100 feels good. But it gets worse. A Harvard Business School study found that losing $10,000 from your wealth causes roughly twice the psychological distress as never having had it. It's not the poverty that destroys people. It's the memory of what they had, the reference point, the gap between who you were and who you are now. That gap is where the damage lies. Mike Tyson earned somewhere between $400 and $685 million in his boxing career. He spent $4.5 million on a single birthday party, $2 million on a bathtub. He kept white Bengal tigers as pets, $4,000 a month per tiger just for food. His Connecticut mansion had 51 rooms, a nightclub, a swimming pool with a hydraulic floor. 200 people on his payroll. By 2003, he had $10 in his pocket and owed the IRS $23 million. His words: "People only see the fur coats and the tigers. They don't see the guy crying alone at 4 a.m. But Tyson's story is spectacular, the kind you read about and think, well, that could never be me. So let me tell you the version that could. A marketing executive in suburban Chicago, 2006, making $280,000 a year. Good house, good cars, good life. Then the company restructures. He's out. Month 1, he tells himself it's temporary. Month 3, he quietly skips the country club dinner to avoid the bill. Month 6, the first late mortgage payment. He tells the kids the vacation is postponed. Month 9, he sells the second BMW. Tells the neighbors it was a choice. Month 12, the first call from the mortgage company. He lies awake at 3 a.m. running numbers that never add up. Month 18, the foreclosure notice, and the conversation with his wife that he later calls the worst moment of his life. He wrote about it anonymously. The thing nobody tells you is that it's not dramatic. There's no one moment. It's a slow erosion. Every week you're a little less than you were. And the worst part is that you keep performing. Performing at dinner parties, performing for your kids, performing for yourself. You tell yourself you're fine until the morning you can't pretend anymore. This is the part nobody talks about, the shame. In America, wealth isn't just money. It's identity. It's proof that you did something right, that you are someone worth knowing. The Protestant work ethic, the myth of meritocracy. The whole American dream is built on the idea that your bank account reflects your character. So when the money disappears, it doesn't feel like bad luck. It feels like you've been found out, like you were a fraud all along, and now everyone knows. The shame creates a cycle. You lose money, you feel ashamed. The shame makes you hide. The hiding means nobody can help. The problems compound in the dark. The compounding creates deeper shame, more hiding. Bankruptcy attorneys say their clients wait an average of 18 to 24 months after the first warning signs before asking for help. By then, they've raided retirement accounts, taken out high-interest loans, hidden the truth from their own families. They've made everything twice as bad as it needed to be. One attorney put it simply: the worst thing about debt isn't the debt, it's the secret, and the body keeps score. Cortisol levels in people going through financial collapse match those found in people with post-traumatic stress disorder. Sleep changes, not just less of it, but fundamentally different. One man described it as a weight on his chest the moment he opened his eyes. His hands shook when he checked his bank account. He started checking at 2 a.m. when no one could see. Food lost its taste. Everything tasted like nothing. If you're finding this story compelling, go ahead and subscribe. We cover the psychology behind wealth, collapse, and everything in between. And there's a lot more coming. Jack Whitaker won $314.9 million in the Powerball lottery on Christmas Day 2002. the largest single-ticket jackpot in history at the time. He took home 113.4 million after taxes. Within 13 months, his 17-year-old granddaughter Brandy was dead from a drug overdose, introduced to drugs through the entourage that gathered around his new wealth. His daughter died the same year. He was robbed twice, sued dozens of times. By 2007, he was broke. Standing at his granddaughter's grave in the West Virginia hills where he grew up with nothing, he said 5 words. I wish I'd torn that ticket up. He meant it. The money had made it worse. Before the win, his family was protected by obscurity. After, they were exposed. But here's what the research keeps showing again and again in study after study. The people who survived the fall, who actually build something after, almost all say the same thing. It was clarifying. Not good. Not something they choose, but clarifying. The money had been a costume. The collapse stripped it off. Teresa Giudice came out of 15 months in federal prison and wrote, "Prison strips you down to nothing, and then you find out what's actually you." Mike Tyson built a one-man Broadway show about his collapse, directed by Spike Lee, and performed his own destruction on stage every night to standing ovations. His comeback wasn't built on money. It was built on brutal honesty about what the money had done to him. Kim Basinger went from buying an entire town in Georgia to bankruptcy court, then won an Academy Award 5 years later. Walt Disney went bankrupt in 1923 and arrived in Hollywood with $40 in his pocket. The pattern is always the same. The people who rebuild don't start by getting the money back. They start by separating who they are from what they had. That's the work. That's the real work. A 2016 study in social science and medicine found that downward social mobility is a stronger predictor of depression and anxiety than absolute poverty. It's not the floor you land on, it's the fall. 1 in 3 Americans who reach the top income bracket will fall out of it within a decade. 40% can't cover a $400 emergency. This isn't a rare tragedy. This is the water we're all swimming in. So here's the question nobody wants to sit with. Who are you without the number in your bank account? Most people never find out. The ones who do, whether they chose it or not, often say it was the most important question they ever had to answer. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs it. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next one.